This dose theory presentation is on safe dilutions. I'll be referring to the NIP handout titled Nursing 3 Pediatric Math Safe Dilutions. But first of all, let's just get an idea of what safe dilutions really are all about. So I'm going to have several parts to these problems. In the first part, I'm going to need to calculate a dosage amount. So I'm going to calculate an ml dosage amount. And what I'll do is I'll take that ml dosage amount and I will put that in a cup. And so I'll have a dosage in here that's in mLs. So that's my first part. My second part is going to have two subparts to it. There's going to be a part A and a part B. So in the part A, they're going to ask me to solve for the total volume. And the total volume is just, when I'm all finished, how much liquid am I going to have in my container, in my cup. And so that's going to be 2A, and that's going to be for total volume. So I'm solving for a dosage, an ml dosage amount. I'm solving for the total volume, which is based on the final dilution, which is listed in the problem. And then they're going to ask me for how many mLs of diluent that I will add. And that's going to be in this area here. And this is going to be my 2B. That's going to be the second part of question number 2. How much diluent would I need to add to get to that total volume? And then finally, the last part of the question is going to ask me to set the pump in mLs per hour. So mLs per hour will be the last question. Okay, let's take a look at some of these and get some practice on them. Let's look at number 1. Doctor's orders 500 milligrams drug IV. Final dilution is to be 20 mgs per ml. On hand are vials with 500 mgs. Directions say to add 5 mLs of diluent. Okay, so first thing I want to look at is I have the doctor's order. The doctor's order is 500 milligrams. Then I look and I see that I have a final dilution. A final dilution of 20 mgs per ml. And I look for my available. The available in this case is going to be 500 milligrams per 5 mLs. So let's look at the first part of the question. Let's look at A. How many mLs of the drug will you need? So I go with what I've always done since level 1. I take the doctor's order over 1, 500 milligrams over 1. I times it by the available, which is 5 mLs over 500 mgs. My mgs will cross out, and I'm left with 5 mLs. So I draw my cup, and in my cup I'm going to put 5 mLs of medication. That's my dose. Then with part B, it's going to ask me what is the total volume. So to calculate the total volume, I'm going to go back to the doctor's order, which was 500 milligrams. And I'm going to put that over 1. But this time, I am going to multiply it by the final dilution. The final dilution in this problem is 20 mgs per ml. When I multiply that through, I end up with 50 divided by 2, which gives me 25 mLs. So my final or total volume, is going to be 25 mLs. The second part of B is going to ask me how much diluent. How much diluent will I need? So I'm going to take the total volume and I'm going to subtract the dosage, which was at the bottom, and that will give me how much fluid I need to add in between here and here. So the total volume is 25 mLs. I'm going to minus the 5 mLs, and I get 20 mLs. So I would add 20 mLs of diluent to achieve the final volume of 25 mLs. Then the last part of the question, part C, says if you must administer this over 30 minutes, what is the ml per hour flow rate? So I'm solving for mLs per hour. And so I look at the total volume, it's 25 mLs, and it says to deliver it over 30 minutes. I do a time conversion. 60 minutes is 1 hour, or I could just look at this and know to double it, and that will give me 50 mLs per hour. Okay, let's take a look at another. Let's look at question 2. Doctor orders 350 milligrams drug IV. 350 milligrams is the doctor's order. Final dilution is to be 20 mgs per ml. So final dilution is to be 20 mgs per ml. On hands or vials with 100 mgs, directions say to add 2 mLs of diluent. My available is 100 mg over 2 ml. Okay, let's look at the first part of the problem, part A. How many mLs of the drug will you need? Typical dosage problem, the doctor's order, over 1 times the available, which is the 2 mLs over 100 mgs. My mgs go away. I calculate that through. And I end up with 7 mLs. So I'm going to draw my cup. And the dosage for this problem is going to be 7 mLs. Part B. What is the total volume in which the drug must be diluted to achieve a final dilution of 20 mgs per ml? So I go again with the doctor's order, over 1, and this time I times it by the final dilution. And the final dilution is 1 ml over 20 mgs. I multiply that through, and I end up with 17.5 mLs. So my total volume is going to be 17.5 mLs. The next part of the question asks me how much more diluent must I add to the original concentration to achieve this final dilution. So I need to know how much fluid I'm going to add here. So I'm going to take the total volume, the 17.5, minus the 7 mLs, and that's going to give me 10.5 mLs. So this is going to be 10.5 mLs of diluent I would need to add. And then finally, I'm going to take a look at C, which tells me to administer this drug over 30 minutes and calculate the flow rate. So that's in mLs per hour. I go back to the total volume, which is the 17.5 mLs, and it says to administer it over 30 minutes. I can do a time conversion, and that ends up being 35 mLs per hour. Let's now take a look at question 3. Doctor's order, 750 milligrams of drug IV. Doctor's order is 750 milligrams of the drug. Final dilution. Final dilution is 20 mgs per ml. On hand are vials with 1 gram. Directions say to add 8.5 mLs, resulting in a concentration of 100 mgs per ml. So my available is 100 mgs per ml. take a look and see what question A says. How many mLs of drug will you need? So I take the 750 milligrams, the doctor's order, over 1, times the available, which is 1 ml over 100 milligrams. I multiply that through, and I end up getting 7.5 mLs. So that is my dose, and I'm going to put that in my cup at the 7.5 mLs. Part B says, what is the total volume in which the drug must be diluted to achieve a final dilution of 20 mgs per ml? I go back to the doctor's order, the 750 milligrams over 1, multiply by the final dilution, which is 1 ml is 20 mgs. I multiply that through, and I end up with 37.5, and that is going to be my total volume. So I put my total volume over here, and my total volume is 37.5. The second part of B is going to ask me for how much diluent, how much I'm going to add to dilute that 7.5 mLs to 37.5 mLs of total volume. So I'm going to take the 37.5 mLs minus the 7.5 mLs, and that gives me 30 mLs. So 30 mLs would be the amount of diluent I would need to add. The last part of question 3 says if you must administer this over 30 minutes, what is the ml per hour flow rate? So I'm solving for mLs per hour. I go back to the total volume, which was the 37.5 mLs, and it said to deliver it over 30 minutes. I do a time conversion, 60 minutes over 1 hour is my time conversion. I multiply that through, and I end up with 75 mLs per hour would be the flow rate. All right, let's take a look at number 4, doctor's orders. So doctor's order is 800 mcgs of drug IV. Final dilution is 20 mcgs per ml. On hand, my available is going to be 1 mg per 2 ml. Part A asks me how many mLs of the drug will you need. So I take the 800 mcgs, the doctor's order over 1, times the available, which is 2 mLs over 1 mg. I see that I need to do a conversion, so I do my conversion. 1000 mcgs is 1 mg, and now my mcgs will cross out, my milligrams will cross out, and I end up with 800 times 2 divided by 1000, and that gives me 1.6 ml. So in the cup, I'm going to put 1.6 mLs. Part B asks me, what is the total volume in which the drug must be diluted to achieve the final dilution? So I'm looking for the total volume. So I take the doctor's order again, the 800 mcgs over 1. I times it by the final dilution, which is 1 ml over 20 mcgs. My mcgs will cross out. I end up with 800 divided by 20, which really is 80 divided by 2, so it gives me 40 mLs. So my total volume is 40 mLs. Then I need to calculate how much of diluent I will need to add to make that 40 mLs. So I take the 40 mLs minus the 1.6 mLs, and that gives me 38.4 mLs. So I would need to add 38.4 mLs of diluent. Part C, the last part of the problem, says if you must administer this over 30 minutes, what is the ml per hour flow rate? So I go back to the total volume, which was the 40 mLs. I put that over 30 minutes. I do my time conversion, 60 minutes over 1 hour, and that gives me 80 mLs per hour, and that's how I would set the pump. Let's take a look now at the final problem on that packet, and it says that the doctor's order is 250 mcgs of drug IV. Final dilution is 20 mcgs per ml. On hand, so am I available? On hand are vials with 1 mgs. Directions say to add 4 mLs of diluent. So on my available is 1 mg per 4 mLs. Part A asks me, how many mLs of the drug will you need? So I take the doctor's order, the 250 mcgs, over 1 times the available, which is 4 mLs and 1 mg. I see I need to do a conversion, and I have 1,000 mcgs and then the 1 mg on top. Now my mcgs will cross out, my mgs will cross out, and I'm left with mLs, and I get 1 ml. So I have 1 ml of medication I'm going to administer, and that is my dosage. Part B, what is the total volume in which the drug must be diluted to achieve a final dilution of 20 mcgs per ml? So I need to calculate the total volume. To do that, I go back to the doctor's order, 250 mcgs over 1 times the final dilution, and that's 1 ml over 20 mcgs. And that gives me 250 divided by 20 is 12.5 mLs. So my total volume will be 12.5. Now I need to calculate what is the amount of water or diluent I need to add to get to that 12.5 total volume. So I'm going to take the 12.5 mLs minus the 1 ml, and that will give me 11.5 mLs. So I would add 11.5 mLs of diluent to achieve the total volume. And the last part of the problem is asking me to set the pump in mLs per hour. I go back to the total volume, which is the 12.5 mLs, and it says to administer it over 30 minutes. I do a time conversion, 60 minutes is 1 hour, and that gives me 25 mLs per hour. If you need further help with the safe dilutions, please come to NIP and we can help you with that. Thank you.